How shitty is your publishing house that you have to outsource your top-tier characters to another, ironically shittier publisher? There was one time when Marvel was the top comic book publisher. All Marvel needed to do was slap an X on a cover, and boom, hundreds of thousands of books sold. Now, quote, IDW will launch a new line of all-age comics featuring Marvel comic characters, the publisher announced today as part of their run-up to Comic-Con International in San Diego later this week. Even in the dark days of bankruptcy, Marvel never sunk to actually letting another publisher handle its main characters like this. Oh sure, in the late 90s they let the Image guys handle the Heroes Reborn books, but those at least had the pretense of being in-house. I mean, they didn't put the other publisher's logo on the books. But now, quote, according to a press release, the two companies will develop middle-grade comic books designed for young readers, featuring some of Marvel's most popular characters. The monthly issues and trade paperback collections, published by IDW, will be available for sale at local comic book shops and book retailers across the country, expanding opportunities for the next generation of superheroes to experience the Marvel Universe. From Iron Man to Captain Marvel, from the Hulk to Shuri, the Marvel Pantheon has something for everyone, said John Barber, editor-in-chief of IDW. With this team-up, Marvel and IDW aim to bring exciting, all-new comics to a generation growing up in a Marvel world. And why can't you do this at Marvel? I mean, you guys have the largest market share of any publisher. You employ hundreds of artists and writers. Surely some of them must be capable of creating middle-grade comic books designed for young readers. What in the world could you possibly be doing at Marvel that would prevent you from doing this? Never mind. This really is pathetic. Honestly, who would have thought that Marvel Comics is so incapable of producing books for young readers that they have to farm it out to a competitor? And of all companies, IDW, the company that lost 91% of its revenue within a year. Yeah, that's the company you want to hand your properties to. The people who can't sell their own books. Now, the article says that IDW has been publishing Star Wars Adventures for about a year, which is true. Disney, which owns Marvel, bought Lucasfilms and got the Star Wars franchise along with it. Most of the books are published through Marvel, but the move to publish any of them through another publisher is telling. The Star Wars license is heavily controlled by Papa Disney, and that kind of move looks like Big Papa doesn't trust his adopted kid with his new baby. But you can kinda cut Marvel some slack since the Star Wars books are their own thing. Moving Marvel superheroes to another publisher, that's a different animal. This is like you being an adult and your senior parents taking your car keys and giving them to your neighbor's reckless teenager. So the idea here is that IDW will create some Spider-Man, Avengers, and Black Panther books to be an easily accessible jumping-on point for young readers. Isn't that the whole point of relaunching your whole fucking line every few months? That's why you're slapping that number 1 on each issue, right? Do you not realize how fucked up this sounds? You're admitting the books you publish at Marvel are A, a convoluted mess of backstory, B, that the relaunches are pointless because readers still won't know what's going on, and C, that your current books aren't for kids. Excuse me, weren't y'all saying that y'all do so well with the youth market? Weren't y'all saying that all these kids snatch up the books from Scholastic? All I see from your creators on social media is how the diversity characters are a massive hit with young readers. So, why do you need this other line of books? As bad as that looks, it looks much worse for the editor-in-chief of a company to basically admit his own company needs help telling their own stories with their own characters. Here's C.B. Cebulski just embarrassing himself. Quote, Marvel is excited to work with IDW to share these brand new stories with our young readers, said C.B. Cebulski, editor-in-chief of Marvel. Characters like Spider-Man, Black Panther, and the Avengers inspire us through their strength and determination. But they resonate with readers because of the struggles they face and the challenges they overcome. We want to share their journeys with our younger fans firsthand. No, you don't. You want to share it secondhand because IDW is going to be doing all the heavy lifting. They're making the books. You're just putting your fucking logo on it. Dude, you should be so fucking embarrassed. This is Marvel Comics. Marvel. They wrote the book on how to create characters that resonate with readers. Spider-Man, Fantastic Four, X-Men, Iron Man, Captain America, The Incredible Hulk. I could rattle off every major Marvel character. Marvel had them down, perfected by the end of the 60s. And here we are, 60 years later, and apparently no one at your company, not a soul, can write an all-ages book on that level. Hell, you don't even have to get to that level. Apparently y'all can't even reach 90s level writing, where it's just tits and ass, action, gritting teeth, and pockets. 25 years ago, Marvel was king. Now Marvel is pimping out its top-tier characters. If you don't want to cancel any of the books you're publishing to move some people around, hire more people. You're owned by Disney. You're not that strapped for cash. Call Papa Disney up and ask for a bigger allowance. How sad is it that the company with the most successful film franchise in history, whose second-rate characters were turned into top-tier characters within a decade, can't even publish their own stories? They've got to farm them out to a lesser publisher like you're handing over the fucking crown of Gondor to a line of stewards. It's absolutely pathetic on every level. There's no way you couldn't have done this in-house. This has happened because Papa Disney saw how much money he saved with them Star Wars adventure comics. It may not lead to this, but it definitely looks like Disney is testing whether they can shutter the Marvel publishing house. It's just what it looks like. Marvel hasn't been this popular ever. It makes no sense to do something like this unless there's a thought of closing down Marvel Comics. But what do I know? I'm just some guy.